So hello fellow humans and welcome to the Madhouse. I'm Josh and today I'm going to give you my winter book recommendations for 2016. Christmas is on the way, so in the Northern Hemisphere that means winter is, if not here already, certainly coming. With the cold creeping in, what better way to spend your time than curled up with a good book, with a mug of hot chocolate and possibly a tot of rum or brandy in there as well to really warm your spirits. Or if you're not an alcoholic, maybe just marshmallows or something. I'll let you in on a secret though, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm too poor to be an alcoholic. Only the rich can be alcoholics. I am a drunkard. With books in mind, it can sometimes be very hard to find something that comes up with the right feel, so I have now compiled a list for you of books that I think are perfectly suited for reading during the winter. Books that either warm your heart and make you feel good on the inside, or are magical enough to evoke that childhood sense of magic and mystery that many adults constantly strive to find and don't know where to look. Or maybe you just want something a bit of fun, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Christmas for you is when you start going surfing and sunbathing on the beach and watching all of us Northerners freeze our asses off while you're having fun. So you'll want something a little bit spicier, which is fine. I can do that. And speaking of spice and of winter, I'm going to light my winter spice Yankee candle because why not? Help me get into the spirit of things. That's it. Smells of cherries, cinnamon, clove, orange and other winter spices, and I absolutely love it, even with my limited sense of smell. One tradition I have every single... To begin with, I'll start with what's probably the most obvious suggestion, but Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It is a tradition I have every single year. I've already read my copy, and I'm carrying on with the audiobooks of the rest of them. And it just makes me very, very happy. It's nice and warm and fuzzy and magical, and typically evokes a lot of childhood memories that one wants at Christmas, and it's nice. I mean, you know what it's about. If you don't know what Harry Potter is, well, I can't really help you. You're a bit late to the party. If you're looking for something a little bit more adult and that has rather a fun twist to it, then there is always The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. It is a masterpiece of modern comedic science fiction, and I absolutely love it. It essentially follows the premise that Ford Prefect wakes up one morning, encounters an alien and finds out that the Earth is going to be demolished in 4 minutes time to make way for an interstellar highway. And then chaos ensues. It's very interesting and quite frankly put, there are few books that can make you happier in this at all. It is so incredibly bizarre yet potent, and with many excellent philosophical and science fiction ideas that have yet to be explored in such a developed way, all the while making you laugh your socks off. There is also His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, which I talk about often enough because it's a series I adore, but it is almost perfectly suitable for Christmas. It is a retelling of John Milton's Paradise Lost with elements of Alice in Wonderland, the Chronicles of Narnia, and lots of other stuff going on in there, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's written for children, but it is completely accessible for adults, and I think there are many aspects of it that you would not understand unless you were an adult. And it makes me incredibly happy to have read it, and I'm currently going through the second one. I'm nearly finished with it, and I intend to have the third one finished by Christmas Day, and it makes me very happy. I will also recommend Stardust by Neil Gaiman because this is a masterpiece of modern fantasy in the style of fantasy that predates Tolkien. So we're not talking wizards and elves and graceful fairies and ents and creatures like that. We're talking the old-fashioned fairies and witches that are less than pleasant, shall we say. We're talking the creatures who would happily steal your children away, eat them, set the bones on fire, and then feed them to you. We're talking the nasty creatures that dwell in the darkest parts of the mind and tear it apart, turn it round and make it feed on itself. And they're absolutely monstrous and terrifying, and yet still in this the light finds a way to triumph, because as Gaiman says, fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons can exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. Gaiman does it in the most beautiful prose with detailed characterization and a truly unique way of looking at the world. I love it dearly. There's one that I finished only the other day is Winter's Snow by Carrie Hope Fletcher, the short Christmas novella to accompany her full romance novel On the Other Side. And it's such a short, sweet little thing. I enjoyed it immensely. Now, of course, one would be better if one had read the full novel as well. But even without that, I feel it's enjoyable, as it really evokes a lot of the warmth and Christmas. If you are just looking for a heartwarming romance, then Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe is for you. I've done a full review of this before, and if you watch that you'll know my entire feelings on it, which are very difficult to put into words. It's truly magnificent in that sense, and utterly... what is the word I am looking for? Inexplicable? Inexplicably lovely, yet at the same time utterly believable. And as I mentioned, for those in the southern hemisphere, it is certainly very hot. That is to say, it's set in New Mexico, I believe, or somewhere warm in the southern US. It's not in the southern hemisphere, and I'm afraid the only book that I have set in the southern hemisphere is Holding the Man, and that's simply not Christmassy to me. But this one, it is exactly the sort of story I would love to read on Christmas Day, especially when I'm feeling slightly bitter and lonely. Hogfather by Terry Pratchett is probably my favourite Christmas read of all time, in that it's not really Christmassy at all, yet at its very essence it is. It is one hell of an odd one to try and describe, but I'll give it a go. Discworld's version of Father Christmas, the Hogfather is assassinated. Sort of. So the Grim Reaper takes his place, and the Grim Reaper's granddaughter has to go to try and prevent the assassination from taking place, so that he will never have been assassinated. Along the way she encounters two fairies, the beings which maintain the logical running order of the universe, boogeymen, incompetent incognito wizards, a villain who is described as having a mind like a broken mirror, beautiful and sharp but still ultimately broken, and an eclectic cast of characters that might not go amiss in a Shakespeare novel, including some very, very, very drunk wizards who view sobriety as a disease that one should avoid at all costs. And it's hilarious and immensely clever. It contains one of my favourite quotes of all times about the nature of humanity. And the final Christmas read I'm going to recommend is one I'm sure you're very familiar with, because it's probably the most famous Christmas story of all time. Can you guess what it is yet? A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and I unfortunately can't find my physical copy. I do have my ebook of it right there, but that's not really helpful right now. A Christmas Carol is the story of Ebenezer Scrooge and his journey to find the spirit of Christmas within himself by being visited by three ghosts of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. And it's incredibly heartwarming, and you know the story. And actually, if you want to hear the story again, I'm planning on doing a reading of this, probably on YouNow, and saving it to my YouTube channel so that people can come and listen to it however and whenever they want, simply because I love A Christmas Carol, and people have told me that my voice is naturally suited to such storytelling, and A Christmas Carol is one everyone should listen to at Christmas time, I feel. Even a secular atheist such as myself can appreciate the necessity for the spirit of Christmas, which, for one, I feel doesn't hold much to do with the traditional Christian meaning of it anyway, nor do I particularly want it to. Christmas is about accepting one's fellow humans and all they have to offer, flaws and all. Christmas is about showing love to everyone and sharing it with the world, and we should all try that. And if any story can help that to happen, then I'm all for it and will do whatever I can to help. Alright, so that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any recommendations for Christmas books that I should try out, please let me know down below, because I'm always looking for something new. And of course, if you want to buy any of these books, I would really appreciate it if you were to use my Book Depository affiliate link, because I will receive a small amount of commission for each book purchased using that link. It won't cost you any more than it would say through Amazon, but it would help me greatly as I'm trying to save up to live and study in Germany next year, and that's not cheap. Though of course, if you don't want to do that, then you could just make it up to me by sharing or liking or subscribing and all of that stuff. Until next time then, tatty byes.